Okay, there we go. Excellent.
So, observation versus interpretation.
Hmm.
So, and this is really is quite a crucial one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because um, this is where you can really fall down um, because you're not looking at, we're making assumptions rather than looking at exactly what's happening with the individual dog. So, if we look at observation, when we're observing a dog, we are just looking at what we see. So it can be qualitative or quantitative. So qualitative is when it's a description of something, quantitative when it's a measurement of something. We can look at the who, what, when, where, and how, but we're just looking at what we see.
Mm.
And we are writing down. So, for example, from yesterday, we could say something like the dog did a shake, for example. That would be an observation. It's something we've seen. Whereas interpretation, which is really easy to slip into, it's it's where we um, put our own kind of bias or filter or experience or knowledge behind what we're actually seeing. Now, and interpretations, it's not that they're right or wrong per se, but we need to be really careful that we're supporting our interpretation by observation. So the
Mm.
interpretation, we get to that point via the observations plus all the other bits and pieces, the pause and
Mm.
all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
So we don't know as people, we can't read our dogs' minds. We don't know exactly what they're thinking. All we know is what we can see that they are doing and what's happening around them and all those sorts of things. Um, so sometimes when we interpret, we're looking at an incomplete picture. And we're
Mhm.
not observing everything involved. So this is why actually observation is massively critically important. Um, Looking at patterns of behaviors rather than just looking at each isolated events. So what's
Mhm.
happening, repeatedly or over time. And then the more information that you get just by observing, the more likely it's going to be that our interpretation is going to be a good one. Um, the other thing that can happen when we interpret is we use other people's observations rather than our own. We look at someone else's interpretation and take that rather than actually saying, well, actually, this is the evidence that I've got, and I'm going to use that to inform what I think is going on here. Okay?
Yeah, okay. So I just see a bunch of things here in the live stream, in the comment stream. So LG and Katrina find that when they are commenting, it pauses the video.
That's weird.
So
Never come across
yeah,
that before.
so that shouldn't happen, but you might just we'll give a moment. You might just want to close it and reopen it or something. I know
Just
LG is probably
refreshing it, yeah.
reluctant to do that because she struggled to get in. And Liz shared something really interesting here. She says, watched my dog today on his walk. He sniffs, marks, rolls in the grass, and stops for an occasional scratch. Is it always stress or arousal, or could he just be having a nice time? That's
Great
such a
question.
brilliant question,
Great
Liz.
question. Yeah. I love
Hmm.
it.
And so Penny has the same happening, which I think is the stopping. It it can't. It's not us. That is Facebook. So so
Frustrating, though, isn't it?
yeah, maybe see if there is other things that are open. His bandwidth going someplace else. Maybe close the your window, refresh the browser. Those are the only tips I can give you. I've
You
had
could
that happen
try
before.
typing your comment in like a different document and then copy and paste it so you're not having to type it in. It's a
Oh,
bit
that's a
of a
good.
pain, but that might
Yeah,
get round it if it gets really irritating.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, but back to Liz. So, absolutely, that is exactly why we want to have observation, lots of observations. We want to see if there are patterns, like Julia said, and you always want to look at the context,
Mm,
right?
absolutely.
Pause, right? Where does he do what? What happened before? When does he do it? And who else is there? Who else is, what is the surrounding? You know, what is, it's the place, but also what is actually happening in that environment. So are there, and that will give you an indication. We'll talk about that a little bit more just now, because just like with our language, the same word can have different meanings, right? In
Hmm.
different contexts. And it's the same with a dog behavior. We'll see that. We'll see some examples of that later. Okay, thanks. Right. So what we would like to just to talk a bit more about the observation versus interpretation part. What we would like you guys to do is take, and we give you a moment. Don't worry, we won't zoom ahead too fast. Um, Pick one of the, so here are a bunch of questions that are not observations, but that are often used when people describe their dog's behavior, right? Things like assertive, engaged, appeasing, submissive, relaxed, playful. Those are not observations, those are interpretations. Yeah, can you all see that? Please post a pineapple if you know what I'm talking about, if this is clear. Give us a pineapple
You like your
emoji.
pineapples, don't you?
I do. They're so funny. I have this funny thing on top. I just think they're funny. Anyway, so pineapples, please. If you all agree that all the words on here are interpretation rather than observation. Great. Thanks, Barrett. Penny typed pineapple. Awesome. Katrina, it just looks so cheerful seeing all the pineapples in the messages. I just love it.
Penny,
Thank you
I'd
guys for
so be
playing
with you
along. It's
typing
just so cool.
pineapple.
Shawnee doesn't have her glasses. Okay, you're forgiven, Shawnee. Thanks, Janet. Awesome. Awesome. Love the pineapples. Okay, we're
Brilliant.
all on
Brilliant.
the same page then. That's fabulous. Right. So now the thing is, dogs also have a bit of a dialect, right? So how a dog looks when he is assertive or reactive or submissive or nervous is different from one dog to the other, don't you think? So what we would like to do is we would like you to pick, you can do either one. Describe what it looks like when your dog is confident, or describe what it looks like in body language, behavior, observations, what it looks like when your dog is fearful. And let's see.
It'd be really nice. So yeah, you can either, if you're not having an issue with the comments, just you can type straight into the comments. If you are, perhaps open a document or something, type it in there, and then copy and paste it into the comments. And
Yeah.
then it'd be really interesting that we can see.
LG, don't worry, you didn't miss out too much. We were just asking whether the pineapple just meant that we were all in agreement that the words that are currently on the slide are all interpretation rather than observation. And we would love you guys to give us short observational descriptions of what your dogs look like, either when they're confident or fearful. Confident, ears up, alert, bright eyes. So Teresa, think a little bit more what bright eyes and alert.
What do they look like? It's really
Hmm.
difficult to do,
I,
actually.
yeah. So
Katrina.
my goodness, oh God, it's going super fast.
This is
Tail tucked
brilliant.
in, hands
I love it because
back,
everyone's getting involved. It's
elbow
fantastic.
back
So
flat.
Janice has got fearful, barking, tail up. What else have we got? Kate, confident.
Kate is very confident that we understand
I would have to translate that.
Polish.
Is
Um,
it Polish? Think it's
I don't
Polish.
know. I don't know what is it. Maybe it's um tail down, drooling, zooming back and forth on the pass. Wow. Loose body. Thank you, Kate. Loose body, interest in surroundings, sniffing. Mm-hmm. No worries, Kate.
I got it. Loose body, interest in the surroundings,
Uh-huh.
sniffing. Hope you're proud.
Allison, pulling on leash to flee the thing that is making them feel fear, panting, possibly biking, possibly lunging. Okay. So pulling on leash to flee, you're absolutely right, Allison. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on, but that is an interpretation. So how could you write this more as the observation? Maybe pulling away from the thing in the direction opposite to the thing. That would be more neutral. Vera, fearful. Morty sits down, licks her lips. Good. Freezing, stiff body. Freezing.
Freezing is
Stiff
a really
body,
interesting
freezing.
one.
What does freezing?
What does that look like?
What does that look like? We really want to, I know we're being picky. We want to really unpack. Slack jaw and bouncing along. Okay, slack jaw. Try to get in there a little bit more. What does the mouth look like?
So is it that the chin is the mouth open? Is the chin gone down? Is they looking down? Are they looking straight ahead? Do you get, is it those the lips that are quite I don't know how to say in a word. Um,
I love it.
relaxed and loose, something like that.
Yeah, Barrett's got some confident. Oh my goodness, where's it gone? So we have some tail wagging for confident.
Tail
Um,
wagging, body relaxed, ears
Thanks,
up, but
Kathleen.
not tight.
Unpacked, freezing, sitting still, staring intently with lips
Lovely.
curled. Excellent.
Lovely.
Mouth relaxed and up. So you can see that there are some descriptions that are very similar, but there are also some really individual differences, which is fantastic. I love
Mm.
it. We'll see that. Please, I would like to see a smiling emoticon if you guys think that all your dogs look the same, confident and fearful. And please give me a peach if you think that they're all different,
Or just type peach.
or just type peach.
If
I
you're in
just
my
want to see
camp.
fruit. Tight mouth. I see tight mouth. Free and still, mouth closed. Okie dokes.
Yeah,
Eyes go
Shawnee, you're
soft.
so with me.
Emma got a peach. Excellent. Emily, peach. Yeah, everyone's different, hey? Barrett says peach. Teresa, peach. Janet, a
Yeah.
peach. Awesome. So you see, so all these I mean, it's awesome when we see these diagrams of this is what fearful looks like. This is this. Often these diagrams are full of interpretation too, and they kind of stereotype the dogs. And not all dogs are the same. They do not all talk the same, right? They all have their individual dialects. Lots of peaches. Thanks,
Great.
guys.
Fantastic.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, dokes. Right, so
Move
shall we
on?
move on? So here's another framework. Do you want to talk him through the temp?
Yes. So this comes from Susan Garrett, doesn't it?
Yeah, although Susan says she got it somewhere else, but she can't quite remember
It's
where. So
always the same, isn't it?
yeah,
Everyone's always
whatever.
whatever. Um, so we talk about taking the dog's temp, and it's a really good way to look at observe our dogs, and their body language when we're doing observation. So we can go through this little list of all these things, what's happening. So tail. So what is happening? What is with the tail movement, the tail carriage? Um, is it particularly out to one side? There's all sorts of different things.
Mm.
Ears. So ears, you might have, we all know that our dog's ears can go backwards and forwards. But if your dog's got ears like my Hattie, they go up and down, and they can do a little bit of twitching as well, and all sorts of things happen with her
Mm.
ears. She's got brilliant ears. Eyes, we talked a little bit about those yesterday. So what can we see with their eyes? Are they, are they wide open? Are they a little bit closed? Are we seeing any of the whites? All those kinds of things. The mouth, and I think the mouth is really super interesting because there's quite a few subtleties here. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But it's all about, as well as open or close, there's that kind of tenseness and what's happening, whether you can see teeth or whatever else. And then the posture. So the posture could be, that's where it comes into that sort of how they're moving as well. So the stiff or loose movement are they more is they more weight forwards, weight
Mm.
backwards, um,
Mm.
different legs? Is anything weird happening with the legs? That kind of thing. So it's just, again, it's a really nice one just to run through when we're doing an observation and tick them off as we go to get a really good idea what's going on.
Yeah. So some of you are already familiar with temp, right? So what we would like you to, we have another little activity for you now. So if you want to move on to the next slide,
Yes, I just lost
we
it.
would love you
Continue.
guys to have a
Yay.
look at this picture. Pick one of the dogs, either the terrier or the beagle, and then describe what you see. Observation only. So, um, okay, good point by Kathleen. So before I reply, Kathleen, let's let's pick a dog, and then what we would like you to do is write in the comments what you see, observations only, and you can use temp as the framework, you know. So what's the tail doing? What are the ears doing? What are the eyes doing? The head's not really part of temp, but you know, the posture, etc., the mouth. So as neutrally as you can. Okay, LG just posted because she types with one finger. She just posted observations
And also,
for,
you're so thorough, LJ.
yeah, excellent.
Right.
Okay, so Kathleen was saying one challenge that I have is making these observations and deciding on a plan of action when I can see my dog's temp is changing from neutral to fear, which can happen in a matter of seconds.
Yes.
Kathleen, that is such a good point, and that's something actually that we talk a lot about in our reactivity class, the reboot. We talk more about that tomorrow, but we have some of our rebooters are actually in the on the live today, and they will confirm that what is so important is that we need to get really good at reading the environment, so we're aware of what triggers our dogs. We can see that as our dog sees it, we see it too. And then the context, remember, pause, those are all things that help us decide, but we also have to be prepared, right? We have to have a plan ahead of the time. That's really, really important. And
Yeah.
sometimes emotions get in the way, right? Isn't it, Julia?
Oh
So
my
that is
gosh,
something
yes.
we need to work on the dog's emotions. We need to work on our own emotions. We want to be prepared when we go out in particular situations where our dog could encounter something that could scare them. So, and how to be prepared for this and how to have a plan for this. This is all a bit much for today, but those are the kind of things that we do in our reboot class. Okay, so we've got
We've got
lots of
some great
description.
observations here.
Yeah.
Really nice.
So, okay, Theresa, terrier, tail up, mouth open, teeth showing. Great.
Lovely.
Janice, ears back. Yes.
Yes.
Emma says, tail up, lips drawn back, ears drawn back, leaning forward. That's a nice observation.
Yes, very good. It's got
Dog
great,
on left,
doesn't
tail
it?
erect, ears back, eyes squinty, hard, mouth closed, tight lips, posture stiff, weight forward.
Great.
Excellent. Ellison, T, erect, E, back, E, can't see, M, barking, snarling. That's well, you see that you getting into interpretive.
Because we can't hear,
Um,
can we?
we can't hear whether they're barking, we can only
Yeah.
see, and snarling might have a connotation, right? So we're getting into interpretive terrain.
It's so hard to do. It really is.
Planted, leaning forward.
Perfect.
Teeth bared, head forward, tail up, tight looking, ears back. So tight looking, ears back, shoulders appear tight again. Yeah, it's careful. It's difficult to tell. I mean, they are standing. Obviously, the muscles are in use, right?
We got. So I was just going to say, anyone fancy having a go at the beagle? Because I find the
Yeah.
beagle quite interesting, really.
Yes. Eyes small, tail up is one paw up. Yeah, one paw
Yeah,
is, you
yeah,
can see
it
the wrist
is.
is bent yet. Kate, beagle, tail up, on the move. Eyes flitting, staring, ears backwards, mouth open, lips raised, like the lip thing. Posture looks stiff. LG says, I'm so guilty of interpreting Bodhi's facial expressions. You
I
should
think we
have
all are.
seen and heard me today on the walk. I was, I, I kept saying to John, now I look so cheerful today. Look at him. He looks so cheerful. So cheerful. I said like 15 times. I never backed up
Yeah,
why I said that.
I know.
But Shippy and I, my husband and I know what we talk. I mean, anyway, not that we know this better than you or anything like it. I need to unpack what makes him look cheerful too. Yeah, LG, you did the beagle.
You
Absolutely.
did, yeah. And the beagle's also got an interesting thing going on with his mouth as well, which we'll talk about in a few minutes,
Yeah,
won't
in a
we?
moment.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
which is really good.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
Teresa's
now
got the
I
mouth
want
that's
to,
slightly puckered. Mm,
mm-hmm. Yep.
yep, we'll talk
Excellent.
about that in
Tail
a minute.
up, ears back and up, focus and half closed. Excellent, excellent. So now, but while I'm having so much fun here, I shouldn't because we have a lot still to get through.
That's
But
the
as we
trouble,
go
honestly.
forward, I would like you guys, if you think, do you think this is a friendly interaction? Or are these then put a pineapple? And if you can't think of a better one, and if you think they're gearing up for a fight, put an apple. And there is no right and wrong here because this is interpretation,
We don't
right?
know.
I'm just wondering what you guys. Yeah, LG says when you need your dog very well, you feel as though you can interpret their feelings. LG puts an apple. Apple means they're gearing up for a fight, right? Katrina
Yeah.
puts a pineapple. Friendly. Lots of apples. Apples. Lots of apples. Interesting. Goody, goody. Okay, so this wasn't planned. This came out of left field now that I asked this question. I want you guys to remind me that when we get to the end or a bit later, I'll ask you again about this picture, shall we? Or maybe in the Facebook group later. We'll
Let's
go
do the
back to it.
Facebook group.
It's no right and wrong. It's just really
Yeah,
interesting. I find it really, really interesting. Okay, Oji says there's no way to know really though. Okay, so let's
exactly.
move
Precisely.
on and go through our behaviors and then maybe we have time to ask that question again.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to make a start or do you want me to?
Yeah, can do. So we're talking about distance increasing behaviors. So these are behaviors that dogs will do to say, I need space. Now, particularly with dogs on leads, for example, they'll do a lot of these because they can't move away to create the space themselves. But they can also obviously do this off lead. So these are the sort of things that we see. And when we talk about dog body language, these are the kind of things that we hear about quite a lot. So things like your nose lick, um, the yawn, whale eye, head turn or turning away, walking away, jumping away. Dogs do prefer to approach on an arc rather than straight on. And an interesting one is sitting there, I think.
Mm,
Because it's just when they sit, they've sort of planted themselves rather than doing that kind of interaction. So they're kind of
mm,
consciously not
mm.
interacting.
So what I find really interesting is also that with these behaviors as humans, we use many similar, not all of those, but if you just think about if we want to request distance from other humans,
Mm,
we just do them slightly differently, and often we're not aware of it. If you just think about if somebody comes too close to you, right? We instinctively turn either our head or we take a step back, right? Or if you're in an elevator and the elevator is, crowded, lots of people in it, you start staring on the point because you don't, or you chatty. If you're a chatty, friendly person, you might start interacting, but most people start to stare just at a point somewhere, right? Away from the other people. And normally the expectation is that the other person understands that communication, that they recognize this, right? And then respond appropriately. If I do not want to interact with you, I won't be looking at you. Isn't that
Mm.
true?
It's true. And what I quite often think about is you know how there are some people that are huggy people, and then there are some people that are definitely not huggy people. So, right, put in the comments a fruit of your choice if you are somebody that just doesn't like that kind of physical contact from even from friends, from most the vast majority
Coconut.
of people. Yeah. So I'm quite a huggy person, so I don't mind. Um, okay, Emma, we'll see you soon. So put a watermelon in the comments if you're somebody that doesn't particularly like to hug people unless it's like immediate family or something like that. And then have a think about if somebody sort of comes up to you to give a hug, what do you do? What signal do you give to try and give those I'm not a huggy person vibes? Um, because I think sometimes if we look at it from our own perspective, it can be really interesting and we can make those parallels between us and our dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Janice. I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
Everyone in here is a hugger. No one's not
Wow.
huggy. Yay!
Oh,
But you might, yeah, you're into someone that needs lots of space. Yeah. So how would do you do anything sort of with your body language to kind of know maybe stand slightly sideways on, look away, not make eye contact, all that kind of stuff? Yeah, we got lots of friend
yeah.
goes very stiff. Yeah, great.
Okay, I think we need to move on because we've got lots to
Yes, we
get
are
through.
talking quite a lot today, aren't we? Right.
Yeah.
This is this
So
one.
we have a few
The
examples of
nows.
yawns on our next slide, don't we?
Hmm.
And um, the yawn is kind of interesting because, as was asked earlier, sometimes dogs just yawn because they just woke up or they're lying in the sun and had a nap, right? Or they're simply tired, so they yawn. So again, it's all about context. No, with the white dog, we can't tell. We have no context. The hound is on a leash. Maybe that could mean that something stressful is happening. They're also looking away from their handler. The ears are back. But, without context, we know nothing. We cannot interpret what the dog is communicating with a yawn. A yawn in and of itself is just a yawn, right? And then on the next slide, we have same with the puppy, right? The puppy could have had interactions or it's just simply tired. Puppies are often very tired. Okay, now we have a video, and I would like you guys to have a look and see if you notice any requests for distance. Yeah, exactly. Teresa says head turned away, gets up and moves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is really interesting is how he chooses to lie down because
I,
the other dog is not looking at him initially, right? First he sits, then he lies down, and then, okay, now this is getting too much. So he moves away. Excellent. So it's just an example of moving away. And then, let's see, remember if there. Okay, and then we have a couple of interactions. If you watch in the next video, just watch the adult dog.
So the one that's standing. Yeah.
And remember, dogs never do nothing. So there's a long, granted, there's a lot going on, right? People, bags, wind, whatnot. But I don't see any comments. Oops.
Laying on down on the ground. That was from before.
Puppy is
LJ, I'm
so
having
much
trouble
fun. Yes,
focusing on the
LG.
adult. The puppy's too much fun. Stevie's just gorgeous, isn't she? Do you know what I love about Nawa in this particular video is if a dog could whistle, that's what he'd be doing. He'd be kind of looking into the distance and whistling like, I can't see you. It's like he's so expressive. I love it.
Yeah. And Emily says, could we see this one again?
Of
It
course.
keeps just going green for me.
Okay.
Yeah, he's standing still. So initially they were interacting, then he took one step away, which was enough for the puppy to say, okay, okay, I'll move away. And now he's standing still the entire time. He's standing still and looks here and there, but never at Stevie.
And his posture, he's really planted there, isn't he?
Hmm.
Like I'm planted here.
Hmm. And does not, and the puppy is really good. She understands, right? She's not going any nearer because he's not sending any distance in decreasing behaviors. We talk about those in a minute. Anyway, I thought it was a good example. And his tail was, yeah, his tail is hanging down. He's quite relaxed. He's pretty good. You know, he's not looking stressed or anything. He just doesn't feel like playing.
Yeah. And
Can
that's,
you hear me there? Lots and lots of interpretation.
loads of it. It's so
And
hard to
dog.
do.
So the observation is he's just standing there, you know, his tail is down. I didn't see any stress signals. I
No.
think the most striking is the absence of distance decreasing behaviors. All right, so here are a couple more space increasing behaviors. So, you know, the dog might be moving slowly. This is particularly interesting in training scenarios or on a walk. Obviously, backing away, stiffness, stillness. We saw that in Nawa just now. The tap out is a really interesting one. There's a little picture of my boy Falcon lying on his back. And it sometimes that can look really cuddly, right? I want a belly scratch, but because of context, I know that that's not the case. This is a tap out. This is the dog saying, I want none of this. And I don't know if you've seen it. I couldn't find a picture. I've seen this in Nawa quite a lot when he was injured and when they turn their head away, but the eye stays focused on the trigger. It gives them a really weird look. Okay, and then lip lift, hard eyes, growl, barking, lunging, biting, we all know those. Um, the shortened, how do you say this properly?
I mean,
Commission?
I say it's commissures, but I don't know if that's
Mm.
right.
So this is really what the dogs do with their lips, right? And there's a nice three-part photo there of the black and white dog where you can see how she or he is tightening, pulling the lips back so it becomes shorter. And then at the end, you know, then she leans forward a bit more. muzzle goes forward, and then she pulls her lips over her teeth, just like the little Jack Russell is doing also. And then there is the bigger dog. You can see all the teeth. That's a slightly different mouth. I think on the next slide, I'll put a bunch of different
And
mouth
actually, this
pictures.
one here is probably more likely to result in a bite even than that one.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
A lot more tension.
yeah.
No, smiley faces.
So here, I want you guys to notice the differences in these pictures, right? Which one, it's our interpretation when I ask you which one looks more aggressive, so I'm not going to ask you. Liz just wrote, my older dog displays the majority of these behaviors, but now I give him space. He's so much better. Thanks, ladies, for the education. Well, thank you, Liz.
It's lovely.
Yeah, so it's good to be able to, when we see the more subtle signs, then we don't, then we can support our dogs with what they need, and then we don't get any more exaggerated um, um, behaviors. Okay, well, I'm gonna ask it the other way. Which one of these dogs looks the friendliest to you? Teresa says on the left. Left, says Rain. So this is the left one, huh? Yeah. Left, left. Yeah. Okay, dokes. So now I want you guys to have a look at why that might be. What is different between that picture and the other two pictures? Right, we don't need to go into too much of the detail because we're really running. It's already 4 minutes to 8, so we're really going hectically over time. Sorry, guys. Yeah, the lips are not curled. And the eyes are soft and the ears are up and forward. Exactly. We always have to see everything, well, in context of where it's happening, but also we have to see the entire sentence, right? Not just a single word. We have to see how it's put in a sentence. Absolutely. Not showing much teeth at the top, mouth less tense. And the tenseness of the mouth is that pulling back of the lips, right? Okay. And then the dog above, the two that show lots of teeth, right? The dog above is showing way more teeth than the one underneath. And it's a good possibility if you look at the eyes, which one do you think is more likely to be playing? They're on top or underneath? Which one is more? We don't know what is going on in these pictures, but if one of them was, okay, Kate says top, LG says top, Ellison says underneath, Emily also says bottom, Barrett says top, top. So look, we don't know. I don't know these dogs. These are pictures that are pulled off the internet, so we don't know what is going on. But Julia, what would you say? If one of the two was playing, which one do you think would it be?
I'm having to think quite hard because it's really difficult, isn't it, when you haven't got the full context?
So here's what I think, or what I
Um,
see. I see that the dog underneath is only bearing the front of the mouth and he's really curling
yes,
up the nose, right? So that
he's
is
got
the
proper lip
shortened,
curl going on, hasn't he?
exactly.
Yeah,
And the eyes, I can see, so he looks straight up. So whatever it is right in front of him. And I can see some white around the eyes,
yeah,
right? So that's not a soft eye. And he makes his eye really big. The other dog is in a bow.
yeah.
He's got soft, squinty eyes. His ears are to the back, but they're not pinned. And he's exposing all his
A
teeth.
lot of teeth.
I think there is a likelihood that he's just playing bitey face with another dog.
Yeah. I think on balance, I would probably agree.
But we don't know,
But we don't
right?
know, do
It's
we?
just
No, we don't
so
know.
the reason why I'm asking is simply what observations could support the statement. And I'm not going to make you all do that now for yours. So there is no right and wrong here. It's simply, this is why it's important, number one, to have lots of observations to back stuff up. What makes you think that? What is the interpretation? What are the observations? Right? And in the end, we don't know because it's completely out of context. We have no idea.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on. Yeah, Rachel says bottom dog looks very afraid, whale eye.
Does,
So
doesn't it?
there's definitely a bit of white around those eyes. Okay, here we've got biting happening. And what I think is really interesting about this, again, we don't know what's going on, but both of these dogs are biting the leashes and they're looking at each other, right? So there might be a bit of a um, redirection happening here. Some of you were sharing that dogs redirect towards each other in exciting situations. So here these dogs might be redirecting to their onto their leashes. And it's always possible that in the next moment they might redirect towards each other. We don't know. But again, we don't know. Biting can be many things, right? Biting can be an inhibited bite. Biting can be with the intent to do harm, or it can look like this. Okay, dokes. Now we're talking about distance decreasing. And those are behaviors. Um, there's a whole group of behaviors that kind of that we've grouped together like that. So those are always behaviors where a dog is indicating that they want to interact in a peaceful manner, right? Either with a dog or a person. And depending on the context, that could be the dog is trying to show that they're not a threat, or they might be asking for something, often the paw lift, right? Or it could be that they're simply not certain in a situation. Sometimes you hear terms like appeasement behavior, right? So which is an interpretation, but anyway, it could also be another category of behaviors, and we've just put them all together, right? And then sometimes dogs may be so eager to reduce distance, they really want to get to the other dog, but then they're prevented by the leash or by the owner, right? Or the handler. And then that can increase the arousal, and it can also put some frustration in the mix, right? And then you get some barrier frustration, and that might look like aggression, lunging and barking on leash. But actually, the underlying dynamics are a little bit different. It can totally turn to that depending on what happens next. Okay, Rachel, bye for now. You know what, Julia, it's already past 8. Maybe we should do our because you guys can win another Amazon voucher. Hey, Julia,
That's
maybe
a
we should do
great
that.
idea. Should we do that now?
Yeah, let's do that now quickly before everybody has to go. Because we can
$20 one
do
today.
everything else can be done on the replay, but not the voucher.
Oh no. Right, give me a second just to set it up so I can
Okay, so
write
while you
down.
do that, what we would
Yeah.
like you guys to do is to if you could do us a huge favor, because we want as many people as possible to find out about all this stuff. So the easiest way to do this is if you share the sign up link on your socials, right? And then people can sign up, they get a notification, and then they can, get access to the group and see the lives that have happened, but also can join us tomorrow because tomorrow is still another day. So if you could share this on your socials and then just come back, let us know you shared, and then Julia will enter you in the raffle. And what's to win this time, Julia? Today? Is anybody else seeing a green screen or is it just me? Don't use that. Oh, okay, hang on. That's a video. Okay, yeah, we can do that. We can play that. We haven't really talked about the distance increasing behaviors yet, though. So maybe let's go back one. Yeah, lots of people saw a green screen. So let's go back one slide. So things like licking each other, pulling teeth up over front teeth in this horizontal way. It's not all the dogs do it, but border collies, Dalmatians, I believe some dogs do it more than others. Showing the belly. Sometimes this is a distance decrease. Sometimes it does mean come and scratch my belly. So I put Falky down there again, but you need to know what is the case with your dog. Rolling onto the shoulder or over the shoulder onto the back, peeing, of course, yawning. Here's the yawn again, right? The yawn is everywhere. And then also just making themselves look smaller, to indicate that they're no threat, and lying still. Those are definitely distance decreasing behaviors, a whole group. And I think some of those we can see in the video with Stevie. Okay, we've got a bunch of people sharing. And Janet is battling to get it to share. Sorry.
I'll put you in anyway, Janet.
Okay, so have a look here at the puppy this time and see what behaviors you see. Oh. Hmm? So what you can share is use this link. Use the link, this one here. Hang on. Share this. Share the link to the sign up. That will be easier than sharing this live. I just put a link to our sign up page in the comment. That way everybody gets all
Posted.
the information. We don't need to, it's easier than sharing in here. Okay, did you see some of the behaviors? Thanks, Rain. Thank you,
Perfect.
Alison. Thanks,
Janet
everyone.
shared something.
Awesome. Thanks, Janet. That's perfect. Okay,
Love
so you
it.
can see little Stevie here and her waggly tail. She keeps rolling over to her side, right? She's making herself really small. She moves forward. Then she's trying to be no threat. Flattening herself again on the ground. She's really trying so hard to get the uncle to play with her.
Awesome.
Okay, let's move on. There's lots of distance in decreasing behaviors in that little video, but I'm just very conscious of everybody's time. Okay, doke. So play bows, everybody knows those. Yeah, Emily, exactly. She totally wants to play, but and she's doing all the things that we just talked about, right? Flattening herself, rolling over to the side, moving forward, moving towards his face, and trying to look as unthreatening as possible, which again is an interpretation. She looked away at some point, which is part of that no threat part, right? And her top line was also always very rounded. Okay, doke. So here's lots of other positive, not positive, distance decreasing ways that a dog is trying to indicate that they would like to be closer, right? Leaning into the person. I'm sure you know this from your dogs. Yeah, totally, Teresa. Lying down, sniffing, tail wagging. Yes, exactly, Rain. Yeah. And then vertically dropped ears, all the ears are forward. So all these behaviors are ways that we can neutrally, just with observation only, describe what a dog is doing. Okie dokes. So we move on to the next. I'm not quite sure.
We'll get there in the end. So there's some more distance decreasing behaviors here. And
Okay,
again, we'll do
dokes.
what we did yesterday. We'll drop you an email with the slides in. So you've got them all
Yeah.
there, so you know.
And again, every time you see your dog, if your dog is doing any of these behaviors, you want to always be aware of what the context is. You can see here a tail tug could indicate I want to be closer to you. A tail tug can also mean I'm really scared. It really, and I showed you yesterday that picture of Noah where the tail tug simply means he was busy balancing. So it's always in context, right? Context is everything. Whining was vocalizations and whining. We had that on various slides in different groupings. So just as in the English language, a single word can have different meanings depending on the context. It's the same for our dog's body language. Okay, and then this picture there, which
Oh,
is
sorry, I'll
edited
go
on a,
back.
oops,
All sorted.
okay, thanks. Oh, um, which uh, comes from a course that I did a while ago with Donna Hill. So this is an example of mirroring. So if you have multiple dogs, or if you and your dogs are sometimes in an environment with multiple dogs, keep an eye out for this. I would not have picked this up. Um, Here you can see the other dogs next to the person are mirroring the behavior. Mirroring is a really difficult word
It's
for a
really
German to
hard,
say.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. That the little terrier is doing to the person. Can you see that? Paws up, licking the face, and the little dog is doing that to the other dog and then licking the other dog's face. So paws up on the one dog and then licking the other dog's face. I would never have seen this. So another example might be if you have multiple dogs and they want to go out the door. Have a close look, whether they do different things or whether they're doing exactly the same thing. Interesting, Emily. Observation. When my dog is on the sofa with me and I'm eating, she sometimes turns her head away. Interpretation. She wants me to know that she's not trying to take my food.
Great example of each one, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Oh, thanks, LG shared again. I'm sure Julia's put you
Yeah, you're in.
in the thing. Okay, well, we made it with only 12 minutes over time so far
Could be
to
worse.
today's activity. So I hope this was useful for you. We had to rush through a little bit at the end. It would be um, it would be really, really cool for you to revisit the list of behaviors, and rather than immediately thinking, okay, my dog does this, this means that, just consider the context, use pause, do your observations. You can use the temp framework, to just go through a photo. So for today's activity, you could take a photo of your dog or a short video and describe what you see, just the observation. Try not to interpret. Interpretation is really easy for us. We don't need to practice that, right? There's nothing wrong with it, but we want to make sure that we can back it up with observation. So we need to really practice that part. And depending how much time and energy you have, you could choose someone else's video from today, right, from yesterday's homework, and describe what you see. Again, observations only, right? Using words like, this is the behavior, left, right, away, those kind of words rather than value judgments. Ma says she doesn't know how to share. All you do is you take this link, Mars. I just posted it under your comment. The link um is to our sign up page. And then if somebody goes to the sign up page, they will get all the information and can join us tomorrow.
So if you just
That
copy
is
it onto
easier
your own
than
Facebook,
trying
then
to share this.
yeah,
Yeah, just put that on your own Facebook
saying
or Instagram
awesome
or
dog
whatever.
body language. Cool.
Yeah. and just something about that it's useful. Emily says, this course is so helpful. I have not had this dog long and she has had traumatic past. There's so much to learn. Thank you. Oh, you're so
Okay.
welcome, Emily. We're glad that you
And do you know what is even better, Emily? You've won!
what?
I
Congratulations. Oh
knew
my
exactly you were
goodness.
reading that
That's
out.
amazing.
So,
Amazing. Hearts
Emily,
for Emily.
could
Hearts for
you
Emily. Wow.
drop
Wow.
us an email and we will I'll get
Woohoo.
back to you and get that out to you. So yeah, Janice, but if you want to share, just copy the link that Barbara's put above and put it on your own, post it in a post on your own
Just the
Facebook.
link again.
That's all you need to do. Or on Instagram if you happen to use that. But on Facebook, put it in, say this is a really cool body language course that I'm doing at the moment. You can get it for free here. Paste
Thank you, Kate. Wonderful. Thank
Oh,
you
Kate,
so
you're
much,
fabulous. And
everyone.
now I feel bad because I didn't include
Okay.
you. I'll
Maybe
include you twice tomorrow.
stop the screen share and then we can wave properly at everybody.
That's true. I might even stop the recording as well.